to accomplish in its hearings and so forth. And then you might just lead off by quoting these statistics if you want to, and then we can go into it.
Is more militant in the organization.
Now, one of the biggest problems in Fort Worth is some type of municipal inferiority complex on the part of our people. And we have a population in Fort Worth that is extremely susceptible to psychological variations. As an example, if you go talk to the average man on the street today, he'll tell you that General Dynamics has laid off everybody, that it's down to 12,000 population. The truth of the matter is, General Dynamics at the end of this month is going to have a net reduction of only 1,000 employees from when Frank Davis made that announcement. By the end of 1970 in December, they will only have a net reduction of 2,000 employees. December 31st, we're projecting they're going to have between 25,000 and 26,000 employees at that plant.
I just don't feel that any type of a superficial thing is in hair or dress has any relationship whatsoever to a person's professional competence or professional integrity, for that matter.
The schools are having their dress codes, and we need to fit into their particular pattern of dress. Naturally, we would like to present a good front to the youngsters for whom we're responsible.
I feel like this. I feel that if we are going to require students to have dress codes, then I think we should have something to set examples of. I don't think we should require them to not wear a beard and then we wear one. We should set examples if we're going to require them to have a dress code.
Would you cut your sideburns and shave off your mustache?
I would, but I really wouldn't like to do it.
We'll go with the same starting lineup. We're very much encouraged by the play of some of our backup people right now. Ralph Neely, I thought, had an excellent football game at a new position, and this is, of course, we're real excited about this. Bobby Hayes performed well in the ball game. I feel that Craig Martin, who is coming out of his slump, I think he's out of it right now. I think he's throwing very well, and he's, of course, ready to come back in there anytime. So we feel like we're coming along very well.
Besides the Neely performance and Bob Hayes' performance on some of his past plays, what observations can you make from the New York game?
Well, I think the thing that impressed me mostly was our defensive team, because we've needed this so long that to have a defensive team that can turn the game around, and this is what happened in the second half. Cliff Harris had a great game, and he made a couple of key interceptions, recovered a fumble, and this is what you've got to have to win in the NFL. You've got to have a defensive team that can turn a game around, and this is the strongest point in our football team from the New York game.
What about St. Louis?
Well, St. Louis is a team that is a good football team. It's the best team that we'll play up till now. They beat Washington, another good football team, and they have a lot of talent. They know they must win this ball game or they're too behind, and they don't want that to happen. So I expect that we'll have the toughest game that we'll have.
If Dave Edwards is unable to start, who will replace him?
But D.D. Lewis will come in as his replacement. We feel like linebacker is probably one of our strongest positions. We have excellent players in almost every position there and backup, so we're very fortunate to have this type of people.
How bad is the situation at this time?
Well, at this time, it's not too bad, but of course you've got to look ahead a little bit. At the moment, I think that 1 out of 14 of the people in our mental institutions are under the age of 21. That's some statistics to the effect, though, that by the year 1975, now that's only 5 years away, there'll be 1 out of 4 of the people in our mental institutions will be under the age of 21 years old.
Jay, I would say that the proliferation of hardware, or that is the desire of agencies and schools to buy more hardware, has been the biggest problem. Of course, this increased the cost of state government, and it has forced us to a position of wanting to combine as many of these functions and as many of the hardware as possible so that we can get the best utilization of each piece of hardware.
In other words, you feel that the state could get by with fewer instead of more computers.
There's no question about that, yes.
Is there any capability that's not being utilized by the various state departments now that could be utilized with one central computer with expert programmers?
Yes. One thing is we don't share information between agencies. And a lot of agencies need the same information about, say, a person in welfare programs. They may be involved in different areas of the welfare and in different agencies. And this information is not traded now, and by having information systems between these agencies, we would have better information about the people, more information to work with these people, and of course save tax dollars.
Well, I think in this particular case that when you have a committee such as this, when our safety expert tells us that we need stronger codes, that you have to give him a very careful consideration because he is our expert and he's the man that's qualified to give us the answers.
The committee has until the last of October to make a recommendation to the City Council. If at that time they recommend that the building code be left as it is, do you think there's a chance the council might not accept it?
Well, there's always that possibility, Phil. I think that the city manager will get the recommendation from the Building Code Advisory Committee, and then he'll make his own recommendation to the City Council, and then at that time I think that we'll have to make a decision.
Could be the reason why Texas has not been plagued with racial violence like some of the other states?
I think it's because we recognized many years ago that we needed to work out solutions to this problem. And I know that they have been worked out as we've gone along. Now, after I became the governor of this state, I didn't publicize this because I didn't want the youth of our state to feel that I was using them for political purposes, because I was not. We had in the governor's office, while I was serving my first term, the leadership of all the student bodies in all of our colleges, state or denominational. We wanted them to know that the lines of communication were open. They came to Austin on 5 consecutive Saturdays. We met with all of them. We listened to what they thought were the problems on their community. And we believe, not only with students, but we believe that if we keep the lines of communication open between all of the ethnic groups, all of your different professions, all of the leaderships in our communities, then we can resolve a crisis before it ever comes about.
Our people have always been anxious to make the most of our potential, which is rare, to say the least, being located midway between Dallas and Fort Worth as we are. And they've been eager to make public improvements properly timed, properly designed, so that our community can be a great place in which to live and rear our families and to work.
We have called for the redirection of this company's efforts once before. We now call for the officers and directors of TI to resign. We want them replaced by people who will be responsible to the stockholders' investment, responsible to the employees so that further layoffs can be prevented, and responsible to the community so that more than $50 million will not again be taken from the Dallas economy. For these reasons, we will be picketing and leafleting TI on the behalf of the stockholders, employees, and the Dallas community.
We feel we need Reverend Jackson to come in at this point because there are so many issues and so many problems existing in the Southwest that we would like to have one of our national figures come in and take a closer look at it.
But isn't Mr. Jackson more militant than the SCLC has been noted to be?
Well, I would say you would have to ask Mr. Jackson that.
Well, do you feel a man who has been labeled a militant in some areas should come to Dallas?
I don't think Dallas should be a closed society. I think you have enough militants in downtown Dallas and the courthouse to legitimize bringing anybody into the city.
Mr. Jackson will not distribute bread in the city of Dallas, but will he stick a thorn in its side?
I think there's a thorn already here in downtown. Nobody can bring a problem to a city. The problem is already here. Maybe Reverend Jackson can bring a solution, but he won't bring no problems. The problem's already here.
But will he bring a peaceful solution?
That's something that the people of Dallas will have to decide, not Reverend Jackson.
You don't think he will have anything to do with whether or not it's peaceful?
If the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. The guilty one is not he who commits the sin, but rather he who creates the darkness.